Alex, I want to start with a number that should make any developer wince.
Ooh, I like wincing. Hit me with it.
Okay, imagine you feed an AI a massive document, say a huge codebase or dozens of legal papers, about 1 million tokens worth of text, and you hide a few key facts in there, a needle in a haystack test.
Yeah, I've heard of this. And the old models, even the good ones, they start to forget the further you go into the document. That's context rot, right?
Exactly. The previous model, Sonnet 4.5, on a specific long context retrieval benchmark, would only find those needles about 18.5% of the time.
Wait, that's less than 1 in 5? That's terrible. You're basically paying for 80% of the memory to just be a very expensive digital shrug.
That's the painful reality we were living in. Now, the new release from Anthropic, Claude Sonnet 4.6, doesn't just bump that context window up to the 1 million tokens, which is a massive 750,000 words in one go, by the way. It fundamentally fixes the problem of context rot.
So this isn't just a bigger bucket, it's a better fishing rod. What are we actually talking about with this Sonnet 4.6?
We're talking about what they call frontier performance in coding, agents, and professional work. But the real story is this set of API capabilities, the power tools, that suddenly became generally available. It's the moment Sonnet graduates from great chatbot to elite AI agent.
Okay, so for the people who are maybe new to the Claude ecosystem, we have Opus, which is the flagship, the ultra-smart one, and then Sonnet, which is the high-performance, cost-effective workhorse.
That's the perfect analogy. Sonnet is the price-to-performance champion. And here's the wild part. Anthropic says Sonnet 4.6 scores on the SWE-bench verified coding benchmark are nearly 79.6%.
That's almost 80%. That is huge for a model positioned as the workhorse.
It is, and in real-world testing, developers actually preferred the code outputs from Sonnet 4.6 about 70% of the time over the previous Opus model. It's a genuine blurring of the lines. It's essentially getting Opus-level intelligence at the Sonnet price point, which, by the way, remains the same base price of $3 per million input tokens.
Wow, that's an incredible value proposition. But let's dig into the power tools you mentioned. What are the 3 core features that make this an elite agent?
It's a trio of architectural changes that unlock truly autonomous systems.
I love a good trio.
First, the 1M context window, which we've mentioned, is now available in beta. This means you can dump an entire codebase or dozens of research papers into a single prompt.
And it can actually use it?
Yes, because the second part is the improvements to the tools themselves. Things like code execution, web fetch, programmatic tool calling, they are all now generally available on the API, and they're smarter. The new web search, for instance, is far more token efficient because Claude uses code execution to filter and process search results before bringing them into the main context.
So it's not dragging in all the junk HTML. It's executing code to basically pre-digest the information. That saves money and makes the answer better.
Precisely. In one benchmark, dynamic filtering improved Sonnet 4.6's search accuracy from 33.3% to 46.6%, while using 24% fewer input tokens. That's the efficiency gain right there.
That is a killer feature for a production model. Okay, what's the third part of the trio?
The most fascinating one, adaptive thinking.
Adaptive thinking is Anthropic's way of solving the great AI efficiency problem, the trade-off between speed, cost, and depth of reasoning.
Right. In the past, if you wanted the model to really think deeply, you had to manually set a budget tokens parameter, right? You had to guess how much time and money the AI needed to spend reasoning before giving you an answer.
You hit the nail on the head. You were trying to be the AI's accountant and psychologist at the same time. If you set the budget too low, you got a shallow answer. Too high, and you paid for the model to overthink a simple task, like formatting a bulleted list.
A very expensive bulleted list.
Exactly. Adaptive thinking throws that manual budget out the window. Now you use the effort parameter. You simply set it to low, medium, high, which is the default, or max.
So I don't set how many tokens to think, I set how hard I want it to try.
That's it. Claude now dynamically determines when and how deeply to reason, based on the complexity of the request. If you ask it to solve a complex coding puzzle or analyze a multi-step finance problem, it recognizes the need for deep, interleaved thinking and spins up the compute. If you ask it to summarize a quick email, it skips the deep reasoning, delivers a fast, cheap answer.
That is a true architectural shift. It means I can use the same model for everything in my agent pipeline without constantly tweaking settings. It's smart enough to be fast and smart.
And this leads us to the other major feature that makes agentic workflows truly production-ready: context compaction.
Okay, this one sounds a bit technical. How does context compaction enable an infinite agent session?
Think of it like this. Your agent is running for a week, calling tools, getting results, generating code. The conversation is getting massive, approaching the 1 million token limit. The system would usually crash, or the oldest parts would just get forgotten. That context rot we talked about.
Right. The agent forgets the initial project requirements from 2 days ago.
Compaction is a server-side feature that steps in when you approach the limit. It uses the model itself to automatically summarize the older parts of the conversation history.
So it's like taking all the old, raw meeting minutes, turning them into a high-level executive summary, and then throwing away the originals, making room for new notes.
Perfect analogy. The specific details from the early days might be abstracted away, but the agent maintains the high-level awareness of the initial goals, key decisions, and main threads. That's what enables those multi-day, sustained, long-running agentic tasks. It kills context rot dead.
This is all incredibly powerful, Jordan. But you mentioned the price bump on the 1M context. Let's talk about the economics. Is the new power too expensive?
That's the core question for every developer looking at the API. The pricing is tiered. The default 200K context is at the standard Sonnet rate, but for the context above 200,000 tokens, the input price doubles to 2x and the output price increases to 1.5x.
So if I load in a 400K codebase, I'm paying a premium on the second half of that prompt.
You are, but the debate is whether that premium is worth the reliability. Because with the previous models, you could technically fit 1M tokens, but we know the actual retrieval accuracy was dismal, that 18.5%.
So I was paying the standard rate for context that was mostly unusable. Now I pay a premium for context that is actually usable.
Precisely. It shifts the calculus. Instead of paying a little to hope it works, you pay a bit more to know it works. As one developer put it, the key is shifting from asking, "What's the minimum context I need?" to "What's all the relevant context that could help?" The value is the permission to work naturally, without constant context management.
That's a great framing. It's an efficiency and reliability cost. What about the other weird pricing detail, the US-only inference?
The geopolitical premium. For enterprises and developers with strict compliance or regulatory requirements, like financial services or government contracts, they sometimes need their inference to run exclusively on US-based data centers.
A sovereignty requirement, basically.
Yes. Anthropic is offering a US-only inference option for these workloads, and it comes at a modest 1.1x pricing on both input and output tokens. It's a niche but critical feature for enterprise adoption. It signals Anthropic is serious about the high compliance customer. So let's zoom out. What does Sonnet 4.6 fundamentally change about building with AI?
I think the big one is the end of the constant micromanagement. Between context compaction and adaptive thinking, you're not playing the role of the AI babysitter anymore.
It's a move from orchestration to supervision.
With adaptive thinking, you just tell it the level of effort you want, and it manages the complexity to cost ratio itself. This is huge for developers building complex agent systems. They can focus on the logic of the agent, not the token budget of the model.
And the 1M context with high retrieval accuracy means the dream of AI reviewing my entire 500,000-line code base is actually real. No more chunking, no more complex retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, pipelines, just to get the model the necessary background.
It simplifies the architecture, and for the developer, the fact that its OS World Verified score, the one that tests its ability to use web and desktop apps, jumped to 72.5% from the previous Sonnet 61.4%. That tells you it's better at actually using tools and systems.
So, better code, better reasoning, longer memory, and smarter tool use. It's truly a generational leap for the middle-tier workhorse model.
My biggest takeaway is this. Sonnet 4.6 proves that the mid-tier model is the new frontier of performance to cost. You no longer need to pay the Opus premium for 90% of your production workloads. Sonnet is now capable enough for the most complex agentic coding and analysis tasks.
So, for our listeners who are running agents or building with the API, the call to action is clear. You need to migrate to Sonnet 4.6 and start testing these new control parameters.
Absolutely. Start with effort high, and only dial it down to medium or low if you see it overthinking simple tool calls. And if you're battling context limits, definitely turn on context compaction in beta and see those long-running sessions just keep going.
It's an exciting time. It feels like the AI ceiling is getting higher, but the price of entry is staying the same. Thanks for breaking down the details, Jordan.
Anytime, Alex. This release is a major win for developers, and I can't wait to see the infinite agents they build with this new memory.
That was Jordan breaking down the massive shift with Claude Sonnet 4.6. We'll have a link to the full release notes in the show description. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next week for more on the AI revolution.